Hi, bro.
Hey, Jacola.
So, your first question here. How does the character Vincent Peeler in The Morning Of compare to your previous characters in other short films such as Insanity or Visionary that we have done?
Wow. Vincent. Vincent comparing to Cadence or what was the other guy's name?
Malcolm? No?
Yeah.
Vince. Vince.
Vince.
Yeah.
Again?
Yeah, it was
No, it
two
wasn't
Vince. Yeah, it was Vince.
Vinny,
sorry.
It was Vinny. Vinny
Yeah.
and Visionary. Vinny and Visionary, Cadence and Insanity. Vincent's a badass. He's my favorite character that I've ever done. I think he's my favorite character ever, by far, in any movie, besides The Godfather. But Vince, what can I say about Vince? I mean, he's boss. What he says goes. You know, there's no saying no.
So you played basically you played a villain in The Morning Of, right?
I did.
I don't think this is the first time you've played a villain, but what was the most difficult part of playing a bad character? Like, what advice could you give to other people playing a character similar to Vince?
Well, for me, I had to let myself go because I'm not an asshole like Vince was. Like, if you watch The Morning Of, he basically says that he killed Blake's parents, and he said, my condolences, while smiling. I wouldn't do that. I had to completely let myself go for that. I had to learn how to play the character. I had to learn how to be that kind of a person in order to play Vince, because he's on a league of his own. You can't go in there expecting to already know how to play. You have to really learn how to play someone like that. You can't.
So you're saying basically you can't just improv that kind of.
You can't just improv that, because it's a whole different kind of person. Hopefully you are not that kind of a person, and you need to research this, because Vince, like I said, he's on a whole nother level of just villainry.
So can you remember a specific scene?
Oh yes.
Where you really had to change who you are, your personality to act?
Oh yes. That well, I remember the interrogation scene in the garage, but something where I had to change my personality in order to act, that would be the corridor scene, because I had to get really upset for the corridor scene. I had to start yelling a lot. And I don't like yelling. My voice cracked. I don't like the yelling. Like, if you watch the behind the scenes, you can see we had to do that a lot, that corridor scene, a lot of shots, because my voice kept cracking. So yeah, I really had to change my...
Did you find it difficult to...
What I found difficult was the interrogation scene, because it was really, really hot, and I was in a garage, in a suit, boiling hot. That thing that looks like sweat on me in that movie, in the interrogation scene, yeah, that's sweat.
Yeah.
That is not water, that is not fake, that is sweat, because it got really, really hot.
Yeah. How do you, as one of the main actors, one of the main characters in The Morning Of, how did you have to incorporate the script into your character? Like, did you have a copy at home, or did you come to the scene?
Oh, no. Usually, when we're filming, I will admit, I read the script once, it's fantastic, I love it, and then I don't read it again until the day of filming. That's usually what happens. But for The Morning Of, I had a script at home, and I was reading it almost every night before I went to bed, just trying to absorb myself into this character, because like I said before, it's not an easy character to play. You really have to change your personality. So I was, trying to look into the backstory of Vincent, trying to find out why he is such a villain, what his perspective is, and trying to absorb myself, make myself more into a Vince-like character. So I had a copy of the script at home, would go over it every night, wouldn't so much memorize it, so we still had to do some memorization before the shots, before filming, but yeah, I try really get to know the character that I was going to be playing for 3 months.
I'm sure everybody here that films with us knows that sometimes we have trouble with a certain shot or a certain dialogue. After you do it multiple times, I'm sure I can remember some where you would have insanity, but specifically for the morning of, I can remember some in the morning of we would have like take 7s on a shot. How does that throw you off? Do you think like how do you rebuttal? Like how do you continue to act for 7 shots? And improve yourself.
It gets very, very, very frustrating, especially when you're not the one that's screwing up and it's someone else that's screwing up. But and you just have to keep saying the same thing over and over again. It starts like, okay, next shot we'll get it, and then you don't get it, and it's like, okay, next shot we'll get it, and then it's like you don't get it, and then you're like, okay guys, come on, now we really have to start getting this, and it gets really, really frustrating until you get past the frustrating part, and you're just like, okay guys, this is some really crazy stuff. This is definitely going on bloopers because we're on take 15 now. And after it gets frustrating, it gets funny, and then once it gets funny, you're like, okay, now we got this, now we can do it. So you just have to stick with it.
Yeah.
It's one shot, you gotta stick with it. Because you still got the rest of the film to do.
How did you feel after the film was done rendering? How did you feel after the film was done? Everything, editing process.
Editing. I'll tell you, on the premiere, the day of the premiere, as we were sitting in your living room watching it, I felt relief. That feeling like the world is just lifted off your shoulders because it took forever to film. It took forever. You would you'd make plans to film one day and then you can't, or someone else can't, and the whole day just gets messed up. And then when you're finally done filming, like that last day of filming, we finished it right after school. We just come over, get the last shot done, and it was like, yes, finally done. And then we have to edit, and it's like, okay, we've done filming, now we're moving on to the editing part, and you're done editing, and it's like, okay, wait for the premiere. And then the premiere comes, and you feel so happy. You got that finished product up on the screen. Everybody looks amazing. The whole cast was great. The movie was just fantastic. It was by far the best film we've ever done, and it was on a $0 budget. No, I don't.
Speaking of $0 budget, when you're making a $0 budget film with a director like you had Nick and the other actors around you, like you're not gonna have these high-tech sets. So how did you guys have to work together to build the set, clean it up, and all work that into your the time schedule that you guys had?
Well, basically, I remember specifically for shots that I was in, I would get here a little bit early. Me and you would start setting up because I had to buzz my hair, so we'd do that. As soon as I got there, we'd cut my hair, and then once that was done, I'd clean it up, and then we'd get right to the set. And then as soon as Nick or Sacco got over, it's lights, camera, the microphone, everything has to get done. But basically the first people that are here, they're building the set, they're getting everything ready.
Yeah.
It helps that we are such a close group of friends, that we've known each other for 10, 12 years. And that really helps because we have that close friendship. We know.
So 2 of you could basically get the set done if you guys can work together.
Yeah, 2 of us have gotten the set done before. Like the interrogation scene. I remember I got here a little bit early, and then me and you just cranked that out. Went, got that done, cut my hair, and then once that was done, Nick and Sacco got over, then Marcel, and we just went right to filming. So, like I said, it really helps that we have that close friendship, that we know each other's strengths, we know how to work around each other.
Can you remember a specific scene? What was your favorite scene to film and to act in? What was your favorite scene to act in? Not the hardest, what was your favorite, most enjoyable
My favorite scene, most enjoyable. The interrogation scene. Has to be the interrogation scene.
Even though it was scorching?
Oh, even though it was scorching hot and it was just a terrible day, I felt that was the best scene. I think that is my favorite scene in the entire movie. And filming it was hard, but once you see the finished product, man, it looks incredible. Me, you, Marcel, we all just look really, really good. I don't mean to sound cocky or anything, but we look good.
You know, like one more question. I need to finish this off. I'm gonna have to cut this bitch up.
Improv.
Give me another question.
I know one guy had a question for you about improv.
Yeah. Okay. Last question. How do you guys improv and experiment with lines? Like, how do you shape the dialogue?
Wow. This all starts with Nick, because Nick lets us have that creative ability to, you know, take the script to other places, especially like improv. When I first started doing improv, it was because I just forgot my line. And I didn't want to say that, so I just, you know, get the script going. Like in The Truth, our first one, most of the time when we were filming that, forgot my line, so I just, you know, blurt something out, make it go along with the script. But then ever since then, you know, you start building on it. You start taking your character to new levels, taking the story to new levels, making sure that it follows the right path and sort of adding to that path if you have to. And Nick is great because Nick lets us have that ability to, you know, branch off.
So you're saying when it comes to improv, when it comes to dialogue and experimenting with the script, it all comes down to the person filming or like the director that you have to lead to. That's gotta allow you to do that.
He's gotta allow you to do that. Like if
you've gotta coordinate with even the actors around you, right?
And like if you have a hard ass director, he's not gonna let you do that. He's gonna make you stick to the script. But Nick is great. Nick lets us go off, and you also have to have that connection because you're doing improv, so you need to, you know, connect with your other actors. Like especially like me and you. There's sometimes when we're doing one shot and I start going off and not following the script at all, but I remember that you know exactly where I'm going with this. You can sort of pick it up, you know where the pieces are going, you know how the story goes, so then you'll just follow right along with me. And it's great when you see that, when you're not following the script at all, but you still get off like 5 minutes of film just doing that. It's great when knowing that you just pulled that out of your ass, basically.
Alright, yeah, dog, we're good. How long is it? So 12 minutes.
I feel great.